Childhood larks confessions by anonymous people. First confession point. When I was 10, I bullied a boy and I worry that I may have cost him his life. For context, I'm now 17 years old and when I bullied this kid, we were both around 9 to 10 and I didn't know I was gay at the time. I was about 12 when I realized. Truthfully, I can't remember everything I did to him. Luckily it was never physical, but it was definitely emotional and verbal bullying, which is still terrible and just as harmful. I was really cruel to him. I would call him names, corner him with some of my other friends, and verbally attack him for being, when we had no ID. It was just that he wasn't like a stereotypical boy. It pains me to say this because looking back, I realize he was such a kind and funny kid. He had dyslexia, I think, but he was still very smart and tried hard in class. About 2 years after the bullying had stopped, I realized I was gay. It was the hardest thing I've been through, and it was a very long struggle of acceptance and being comfortable with my sexuality. I suffered several mental health conditions, and it put a dark cloud over my adolescent years, and it's only now that I'm finally seeing the light at the end of all of that. I was bullied verbally in a similar way to how I bullied him, but not as aggressive and relentless. I deserved it, and I deserve more than just the bullying I got. As a 17 years old, I'm a very kind and compassionate person. If you ask anyone around me, they would be shocked and wouldn't believe you if you said that I was a bully when I was younger. I have tried countless times to find him on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc., and I've had no luck. I wish I could find him, apologize, hug him and tell him how sorry I'm for what I put him through. I know how important mental health is. My struggles have affected my studying, and this boy already has a disadvantage, so my bullying no doubt made his life socially, internally, and academically challenging and painful. I actually think we would make good friends. Based on who he was back in junior school, we would be quite alike nowadays. I feel terrible for what I did. It often keeps me up at night. I cry about the pain I put him through, and the struggles I had damaged me in so many ways, but I inflicted more damage upon him than I had inflicted upon me, so I can't imagine what he went through. Sometimes I worry that he is no longer with us. I worry that he was bullied even more after we went to separate schools, because as disgusting as it is to say, he is the type of kid that gets bullied. He is the quiet, different, and feminine kid that makes him an easy target, and I worry that, if he has taken his life, that I have played a role in that, and I could never forgive myself if I had. I doubt I will ever find him and get the chance to apologize, but I will keep trying. Wherever you are, and whoever you are now, I'm so sorry for what I put you through. I hope one day I can try to repay you for the damage I caused. Second confession. I hid 3 people's sandals in a muddy area at the church while I was bored at my mom's church meeting. I was around 8 years old and bored at my mom's church organization meeting, and there were some people in another room of that compound gathering, and people were required to remove their shoes/sandals before going in the worship area. Also, for additional context, the area was relatively big, and not a lot of people were roaming around near the shoe shelf. There was also a part where they take care of chickens and a water tank. I went out roaming around and got some sandals from there. I guess I got like 3 people's sandals, 1 from a child and the rest were from adults. I hid one under the water tank and I hid the others in a dark hidden area, and normally, regular churchgoers doesn't go to the water tank because it's muddy. After the church service was done, and looking out from the meeting room, where my mom was, I saw them looking for their sandals and I just watched them. I don't know what happened from that, if they went home barefoot, but it honestly feels bad. Third confession. I stole my neighbor's skateboards and blamed it on a kid with autism. At the time I was like 9 years old, and I saw that my neighbors, they were like 16 something, left their skateboards on their porch, so being the dumb kid that I was, I took both of them and started riding them down the street. I didn't really think I was going to steal them, but when I realized I could probably get in trouble for doing this, my little kid brain thought it was too late and it was time to get rid of the evidence, so I covered the skateboards with mud and leaves and walked back home. The next day I was awakened by the two teenagers talking to my mother with the muddy skateboards in hand. They were nice teenagers and didn't really care if I did it. They asked me if I knew who moved the skateboards. I said that I saw the next door neighbor do it, which at the time was a kid with autism. He got the blame and I got away with it. I didn't know who lived next door at the time and was just trying to cover my tracks. Fourth confession point: I yelled at a little boy in front of his mother because he was staring at me. This happened back in high school. I know it's not an excuse, but back in school I was really depressed and irritable as hell. I was your basic unhappy angry teenager. I was walking home from after school volleyball practice and my mom called me about some bullshit thing she was accusing me of. I can't really remember what it was, something along the lines of me not telling her something. Anyway, I was pissed off. She called me and I was already an angry teen. So basically I was furious. So I'm walking home and I see this little boy riding on a tricycle and a woman, his mother I assumed, waking behind him. The kid passes me as I'm walking and he's staring at me. Little kid stare at IDKY, and I was mad that he kept having his eyes on me and I shouted, "What the hell are you looking at? Huh?" And his mother says, "Really? You're being serious right now?" And I said, "Tell your shit son to stop staring at me. Teach him to mind his own business." And she goes, "He's just a little boy, for goodness sake. You're an asshole, you know that." And she tells her son to pedal faster to get away from me, and they end up leaving. At the time I didn't really care because, as I said, I was a pretty nasty teen. But now that I'm older and more mature, I just feel like giant ass. The mother was right. I'm an asshole. I wish I could go find her and apologize profusely to her son and to her. I regret it so much and sometimes it keeps me up at night. I don't like punishing people that don't deserve it, and even more so that it was a young child. If I could turn back time, as they say, IDK if this will fix anything. If you're out there, I just wanted to say I'm sorry for yelling at your son. I know I was being mean and ridiculous. I shouldn't have ever yelled at you or him. Even though I wasn't a happy teen, there was still no excuse for my behavior. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just wanted to admit my wrongdoing and apologize.